I'm now pleased to introduce the world premiere of the new Humanitarian, which is a play written by Mike van Graan, who is a South African playwright who writes and creates theater about social justice issues. This one-man show is going to be performed by Daniel Richards, and for the lawyers in the room, this may or may not represent the views of the new Humanitarian. So please join me in welcoming Daniel.
Good evening. We're delighted to have a number of ministers for our panel discussion on the state of world peace as a part of the European launch of the new Humanitarian this evening. On my immediate right, we have the British Minister of Defence. Yes, hello from Brexit land. We're doing just fine. Just fine. Thank you very much. Wonderful to have you. On my far right, we have the German Minister of Homeland Security. On my far left, the French Minister of Foreign Affairs. Bonjour, bonjour. I would like to thank Africa for their contribution to our national football team. Oui, oui. Thank you. And on my immediate left, the Swedish Minister of Culture. Tack. I would like to begin by apologizing to Bono for again being overlooked for the Nobel Peace Prize. Love you too, Bono. Tack. Thank you, and thank you all for being here. Now, according to the latest Global Peace Index, the world is less peaceful today than at any point in the last decade. The index also suggests that Europe is one of the foremost peaceful regions in the world. Why do you think that is? Because we tools are measuring. Well, in Sweden, we prefer to make Volvos, ABBA revivals, and love, not war. But you have an arms industry where you make weapons for war. Well, yes, it's good for jobs. War is good for jobs, as long as the war doesn't happen in Sweden. Well, I agree with my Swedish colleague. Exporting weapons is good for the economy, and as you know, good economies make for peaceful societies. And while you have a good economy and peace in Britain, your weapons could be destroying other countries like Yemen, leading to famine, floods of refugees. How our weapons are used by other countries, that's not for us to say. You know, if we sell our cars to a country and that country says women can't drive those cars, who are we to say otherwise? Our cars create jobs in our economy. So you're okay with perpetuating the humanitarian crisis abroad as long as it's good for jobs back home. Well, we also respond to the humanitarian crisis too. We provide medicine, doctors, food, which creates jobs for us. I think it's a virtuous circle. Creates the bombs, create jobs. Exports the bombs, create war, create humanitarian crises, create more jobs. Okay, so some people say that inequality is at the root of the crises. Inequality with regard to political power, military power, economic power, and cultural power. And it is inequality that is making the world less safe now. Listen, young man, Britain is pretty unequal, always has been. That's just how it is. It's not inequality that's the problem. It's that some people want what other people have without wanting to work as hard for it, or inheriting as much. My parents worked damn hard, as did their parents. Life in India wasn't all tea and cucumber sandwiches, I'll have you know. Okay. Now, how would you respond to those who say that Europe supported African and Arab authoritarian governments because it was beneficial for their economic and geopolitical interests, and now that those countries are collapsing, refugees are Europe's colonial and neo-colonial chickens coming home to roost. That's the kind of nonsense Jeremy Corbyn would say. It's just plain leftist rubbish. I think it's the Arab Spring that is causing all the trouble. There has been a lot more conflict since then. So are you saying that Europe should continue to support and have continued to support the dictators in Egypt and Tunisia. The region was a lot more stable then, and we didn't have a problem with the refugees that we have now. So for the sake of peace, are you saying that we should have human rights and democracy in the West and authoritarian governments elsewhere? Until such time that they're ready for democracy, yes. So where do you think the greatest threats to world peace will come from in the next 5 years? Russia. I think it wants to be a world power again, even if it means killing many innocents, like in Syria. I think it's Africa, with the millions of desperate people. The desperate people do the desperate things. Definitely Iran. Yes, if it continues to threaten Israel, we'll have an Armageddon. Donald Trump is dismantling the basic architecture for world peace. So how do you think Russia, Iran, and other African countries would respond to the question about the greatest threats to world peace? Anyone? No? Well, let me take advantage of this moment of silence and say that as an independent news organization, we may not be able to avert humanitarian crises, but we sure as hell will play our role in exposing their root causes and asking the questions to those who have real power over other people's lives. At the New Humanitarian, we also try to give space to voices that are seldom heard, voices that may make some of us uncomfortable, but voices that need to be heard. One way we do this is through our In Your Words poetry competition. So we will share 2 poems with you, one by a Zimbabwean and the other by a Palestinian. Good evening. Good evening. My name is Farai. I come from Zimbabwe. This poem genuflects to former South African President Thabo Mbeki and the speech that he gave to the parliament some time back. I am an African. I owe my being to the hills and the valleys, the mountains and the glades, the rivers, the deserts, the trees, and the ever-changing seasons that define one face of my native continent, from which I would flee if I had the means. Am thinking of fleeing, have now fled. For another face is of power in continents, a president for life in Cameroon, killer presidents in Khartoum, Nairobi, Bujumbura, a thief president in Equatorial Guinea, rulers without shame. Now I'm a president without the P, abroad. Yes. Taken to lands far away, in chains against my will. Now denied entry to self-same lands as someone free yet not free to travel freely. Still, I'm a professor in New York, a musician in Lisbon, a footballer in France, a kagad in Cape Town. I am an African. I am a pin-up girl for famine, a poster boy for AIDS, the cover pig for terror, the face of charity concerts though made faint by Syrian tears. I'm a runaway from hunger, an asylum seeker from war, a self-imposed exile from poverty, a refugee from false prophets of a better life now reserved for only a few. My body tells horror stories of white violence, of black hatred, of green envy, of red ideology, of rainbow-colored exclusion, of orange flames, silver bullets, and rusted brown machetes. I am an African. I'm an optimist, a pessimist, a socialist, a capitalist, an idealist, a pragmatist, a revolutionary, a conformist. I live, I love, I laugh, I cry. I hate, I weep, I get sick, I die. I'm black, I'm blacker, and then some. I am an African. But see me foremost, see me first, see me as human. I thank you. Thank you, Farai. The next poem is by Mohammed Farhat, based in Ramallah. The poem reflects on the Charlie Hebdo attacks by the Kouachi brothers and on how many people adopted the meme, I am Charlie Hebdo. And I think it's quite appropriate to be doing this poem so soon after what happened in New Zealand. I am not Charlie. Je suis Mustafa Wal Al Ghul. I am not Charlie. Je suis Rizq Abdul Taha. I am not Charlie. Je suis Muhammad Anas. Not 9 months old, we see in bomb-plowed Gazan soil a harvest of hypocritical terror. I am not Charlie, your latest banner of freedom, to say, to write, to draw, to be as you wish. Je suis Fadia, forbidden to wear what I like, to pray where I want, to protest terror in Palestine. I am not Charlie, with biographies, photographs, media profiles to build 3-dimensional monuments to your idea of freedom. I am the nameless, faceless, lifeless, collateral sacrifices on Charlie's altar of freedom. I am not Charlie, for democracy's drones are not done between the Pakistani limbs, in the Afghan rubble, amidst the Iraqi ruins, where my breaking voice is ridiculed by sirens. I am not Charlie, though I wished to be. But Fortress Europe turned me back. She'd had her way and had no further use. Back to my warring country, my republic of misery, my ghostly land, wrecked in Europe's generous arms, her tanks, her jets, her bombs. So you see, Charlie, I am not you. You are not me. We cannot be in this, our world of different worlds, both human, but only in form. For in life and even in death, you are Charlie, and I am not. Yet neither am I brothers Kouachi. At least, not yet am I. With all the talk about fake news, with journalists being targeted as enemies of the people, even in democracies, at the New Humanitarian, we value being critical, yet constructive, bold and provocative, and respectful and thoughtful at the same time, local and global, curious and open. We want to make journalism great again. Gather round, boys and girls, moms and dads. The story I'm about to tell you is Trumple Thinskin. There once, not so long ago, in fact, right now, lived an orange monster, Trumple Thinskin, with his 10-year-old son, his son's mother, and a Slovenian cat, meow, in a big white house. Starving after yet another day of pissing off Mexicans, Muslims and Merkel, Trumpelthinskin had started dinner with his son while his son's mother grated carrots for the daily salad. Trumpelthinskin called out to his wife, "Melania, excuse me, Melania, get your immigrant ass in here, climb a wall, get a passport, just get your immigrant ass in here." Melania came in from the kitchen with her back towards Trumpelthinskin, for she knew I liked to grab her cat. Melania, why does Trumple Jr. have more peas than me? I should have the best peas. I should have terrific peas. Because you don't like peas, Trumpelthinskin, whimpered Melania, placing the carrot salad on the table. Trumpelthinskin took his son's plate, scraped the peas onto his own plate, took a photo, and posted it on Twitter. "Look, I have more peas, so many more peas, way more peas than my son," he announced to his millions of followers who all repeated, or rather retweeted the picture 500,000 times. Melania, I know we've run out of T-rump steaks, I know, but what is with the chicken? I asked for fish tonight. What is with the chicken? "Well, someone issued executive order saying no more fishing in Yemen," whimpered Melania, still shielding her Slovenian cat from big Trumpelthinskin's small hands. "That is fake news. I want fish." And with that, he called the chief of defense. "General, I want you to send some Marines to bomb the shit out of Yemen. Blow it up, make it go kaboom." "What do you mean, why?" "Because we can, damn it, and make sure they bring me back some fish, some really, really terrific fish." No chips, just fish. For you see, boys and girls, Trumpelthinskin had more than enough chips on both shoulders. Trumpelthinskin looked at the carrot salad with disdain. "Melania, excuse me, Melania, I've told you once, I've told you 1,000 times, I want my carrots grated more finely than this. I will make you great again, I promise you, I will make you great again." It was at times like these that Trumple Jr. knew he had to intervene to protect his mom and her cat. "Look, the birds, they're tweeting." Trumple Jr. pointed one of his 17 silver spoons at the window. What are they saying about me? What are they saying about me?" Trumpelthinskin's hair had gone a brighter shade of orange, for the carrot salad had gone straight to his head. Just then, the FBI, the fake Bureau of Intelligence, walked in to the dining room. "Sir, we've received news that nude photographs of hundreds of female Marines have been shared in a closed Facebook group." Huge disaster, terrible, terrible disaster. "If it's a closed Facebook group, how am I going to see the pictures?" "Well, actually, sir, we brought a computer that has access. We thought you might like to see them, sir." "I'm going to share these with my friend Vladimir. Great guy, tremendous guy. You'll love him. I love him." "Well, actually, sir, these were sent from Mr. Putin. He hacked into the closed Facebook group." "Okay, all right, leave." Trumpelthinskin settled in front of Fox News to get his daily intelligence briefing. Just then, the phone rang. It was Kim Jong-un. "Hello, my love. Hello, my love. I miss you too. I miss you too. Listen. You know those nuclear warheads you were going to get rid of? Yeah, Bibi's interested in them. Yeah, so for Israel, exactly. So I'll take 18% for facilitating the deal. I'll send you Ivanka's bank details. I love you more. I love you more. I love you. Just then, the other phone rang, and Melania thought to herself, "This is like living in Obamacare call center." It was the head of defense. "Sir, I'm sorry to have to tell you, but we lost some Marines in the Yemen." Yeah, whatever. Did you get my fish? My really, really terrific fish? "Sir, I'm sorry to have to tell you, but we did not get your fish." "You're fired. You are fired." "This guy's such a loser, Junior. Do you want to be head of defense? I think you do a great job. I think you do a tremendous job." "Well, actually, Dad," before Trumple Jr. could answer, Trumpelthinskin's attention was captured by the alternative facts that kept rolling in from the television screen. The Mexicans had started to build a wall. The Saudis were funding it. Black Lives Matter were having tea with the Ku Klux Klan. There were good people on both sides. School shootings had declined because all the teachers were armed. Trumpelfinskin smiled as he tweeted, "Look, I kept my promise. We've taken our country back." What he forgot to say was by 70 years. The future of our planet and the well-being of us all depends on how far we go beyond the Trumpist I, we, and make us great again, to thinking in terms of we, us, and making all live decent, safe lives. So we end this part of the program by asking you to imagine a new world, with apologies to John Lennon. Imagine Earth is heaven. No more bombs or war. Children do not die young. No rise in CO2. Imagine all our people living in harmony. Imagine a world order. No more talk of walls. All are treated equal. Women, blacks, the poor. Imagine all our people living a life in peace. You may say that I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope each day more will join us, and we can all live as one. Imagine no more hunger. All girls go to school. Children do not die young. No rise in CO2. Imagine all our people sharing in our world. Imagine life with no fear. The other doesn't scare. All hate and anger banished. We all learn to care. Imagine all our people living as people should. You may say that I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope each day more will join us, and we can all live as one. You may say that I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope each day more will join us, and we can all live as one.